Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Member Strong panel discussion. As Kermit indicated, I'm Chad Reisenauer, Director of Community and Member Support here at Basin. Our theme here today is Cooperative Strong, and it's no secret that we gain strength from our members. Cooperation among cooperatives is one core value of electric cooperatives because while we can accomplish great things separately, together we can accomplish so much more. Working together cooperatively with Basin Electric, our members have succeeded in providing outstanding service to the member at the end of the line. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. Today I have the privilege of talking with these fine folks on stage. Joining me today is Aaron Ruschy from Iowa Lakes Electric Cooperative out of Estherville, Iowa. Brian Mills with Powder River Energy in Sundance, Wyoming. Jason Brothen, who manages two cooperatives, both Mid-Yellowstone Electric out of Hysham, Montana, and Lower Yellowstone Electric in Sidney, Montana. And then last but not least on the end there is Jordan Lamb from Oahe Electric in Blunt, South Dakota. So today we're just going to ask a few questions of our panelists and just kind of go down the row if that works. Okay, so Aaron, you are first and foremost Vice President of Operations and Engineering for Iowa Lakes Electric Cooperative, located in Estherville, Iowa. You started your career at Iowa Lakes as an intern before becoming a lineman, and you took your current role in 2013. So you have a strong understanding of the cooperative members' needs. For those who don't know, Iowa Lakes started out as 4 independent cooperatives in 1937 and 1938. And 3 cooperatives joined to form Iowa Lakes in 1986, with a 4th co-op joining them in 1989. They now stand at approximately 13,000 meters, give or take, in northwest Iowa. So Aaron, when I think of Iowa Lakes, I've traveled to your cooperative over the years, and many times we've worked hand in hand over the years. I go to Iowa and I think of cornfields as far as the eye can see. But today, obviously there's a lot of agriculture in the area, but today I want to start by talking a little bit more about an industrial part of your portfolio. We visited with a member of yours, Torben Baumann from Hyper Ceramics. Can you tell me a little bit about Torben and his business?
Sure. Torben and his business, they're a family-owned business that actually moved from Germany to the U.S. and thank goodness to Iowa. They had some family ties there. And the reason for that is kind of build up to this meeting here today is the renewables that Germany and the European nation had put in place as wanting to go that route from baseload. They were starting to see extremely high prices and with reliability basically just tanking. You know, they were getting brownouts and blackouts at unannounced times. So, of course, with some help from economic development, some ties to Iowa, us having some land for sale or we do for our economic development and bringing folks in. We were able to site them here in Iowa at actually our Industrial Lakes Business Park. And they make ceramic parts for hips and ball. For hips is actually the ball and socket for replacements. That's very big in Europe, not so much in the US yet. We're kind of, whether it's the doctors or the insurance companies that are more stuck with sticking with steel, titanium, and those things. But they are on the cutting edge of fine-tuning that, and it's much stronger than steel. And actually talking to Torben, you could probably place that in an infant and it would last the lifetime of a human being that's at ceramics. So excellent. Very interesting.
Very cool. Well, that's wonderful. We had an opportunity to talk with Torben and actually take a quick video of him. So could we play the video of Torben, please?
The dependency on Russian gas at this specific point where a large portion of the German energy mix is from renewables, whereas nuclear is almost shut down, the Germans are relying on natural gas for their power plants. Now with Russia cutting off the natural gas supplies, that's hurting both businesses as well as people, especially considering there is a winter coming where besides having to generate electricity in the natural gas power plants, you also want to heat your house or your apartment. It's a big problem in Europe or in Germany currently, just because we need a high quality of energy, we need a reliable energy source, and renewables can't really offer that at this point. We've been experiencing a lot of just spikes in frequency and voltage in Germany that causes sensitive electronics to shut down in the middle of the process, causing a lot of damage. Energy prices, which are typically lower in the United States than they are in Europe. In Europe, it's currently due to the war in Ukraine, it's getting worse. So that was a big factor, of course. And specifically the Midwest, I mean, it's a nice area, you know, in Europe. Not many people think about the Midwest or Iowa as the place to go. We're very happy with the level of the personal relationships and the help that and support that we get from Iowa Lakes Electric Co-op. So far, we've been satisfied. Definitely more affordable than it is in Germany. As to the reliability, we haven't experienced many major outages yet. So yeah, we're pleased by that.
Okay. And I think it's worth noting that when we recorded Torben, that was late last fall, and of course the situation in the Ukraine is changing every day. But I think his theme of reliability and affordability still ring true today, as it does with all of our members, obviously. That's the main credo of the electric cooperative, is to keep rates affordable and keep our reliability up. As I said before, when I think of Iowa Lakes, I think of agriculture. Can you give me a little bit of what that looks like to you guys? What your loads are and how that looks?
Sure. So yeah, you know, we're about 2.5 customers per mile. We're very heavy in agriculture, and you know, residential. We do have some around the lakes area and developments, but you know, we're ag. So we've got large hog facilities, lots of chicken facilities, egg laying facilities, around 6 megawatts of load from that. Ethanol plants, we do have 3 ethanol plants, so we're roughly around 25 megawatts of load with ethanol as well. So all that ties together, not only just the, you know, the corn and soybean production for hogs, cattle, and chickens, and then also that byproduct from the ethanol plants. So you know, it works well for that part of the country. Most of it stays local, but we're feeding, you know, the country, the world basically. But we're also attracting folks like Torben to come to our area, our footprint, and create jobs, high-paying jobs.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Aaron. Okay, Brian, we're going to move to you if that's all right. Okay, Brian Mills is a Crook County, Wyoming native, raised on a farm and ranch operation near Devil's Tower. You have firsthand experience with Powder River Energy's cooperative spirit. As CEO of Powder River Energy in Sundance, Wyoming, Brian oversees one of Basin Electric's largest power consumers. Located in northeast Wyoming, Powder River Energy serves 13 coal mines and other energy industry members in the Powder River Basin. Powder River Energy's customer mix of industrial loads comprise over 80% of the total kilowatt hours sold, while their commercial, residential, and seasonal loads comprise the remaining 20% of total sales, but yet represent 87% of the company's nearly 13,000 members. So an incredibly large amount of load centered through a handful of meters. In August of 2022, Brian took over as CEO of Powder River Energy, succeeding Mike Easley, who had stepped down after 22 years in that role. Now, one unique load that you serve is the town of Wright. And serving a town is not unique. It's cooperatives across the nation serve towns. But this is a little unique in that it's a very young town that exists largely because of the oil boom. So we had an opportunity to meet with some of the folks in Wright. Can you give me kind of the background of the town and why it exists?
Yeah, so Wright is located right in the heart of Powder River Basin, and as they emerged out of the coal and the oil industries coming into the Powder River Basin, Wright was situated in there to help support the residents and the supporting industries of those major industries. And so it's, like you say, it's not an old town, but has become very, very central to the existence and those large industries being in our area.
Okay, we have a short video of the Wright community. If we can play the Wright video, that'd be great.
Wright is a tight-knit, I would say, conservative community based. It was incorporated in 1985. And it started out as a mining town, oil and gas and coal back there. And so it's a fairly new town in the scope of things, in the history of Wyoming and the United States. We're a community of about 18 to 1,900 people, depending on what's going on in that industry. Somewhat has its ebbs and flows as far as the population goes. You know, the school's the hub of the community. It really is. It's because of those facts, you know, the activities that go on, the programs the kids are involved with, it brings everybody together in our community. And schools are heavily driven by technology these days, so it takes that much more power to service a school, and it's, you know, in the surrounding areas. So they do a great job helping us and providing electricity for our homes in the area and the school.
We're only about 40 years old, so all the infrastructure is all new. I've heard some talk about blockchains. You know, the state of Wyoming approved them, so that'll be affecting Powder River. I think one of the better things, even when you built that power plant in Gillette, it showed what coal can be. I think that's a big asset. The county is working hard to find other alternatives for coal. They built a plant out there by Fort Union that is doing alternative things for coal. Well, if you're running a business nowadays with a computer, you got to have power, and if the power's out, you can't run your business. So it's also, you can't run the town without good power and reliable power. The oil, we're kind of a semi-boom, but it could be boomer. It just depends on if they allow that to go. You can't get off of oil yet. Maybe in 50 years they may come up with something, but we ain't that far ahead, in my personal opinion. The boom and bust is our county, so. And I've survived 5 of them so far, and we're still here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Brian, the school principal, Lonnie, talks a little bit about the ebb and flow of the energy industry, and Powder River Energy's been there through all those ebbs and flows. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges you've seen and how you've responded to that ever-changing landscape?
Yeah, he talked about the oil. CBM has came and gone a little bit. I think they're twilighting a little bit at this point. We have a little bit of uranium mine. So, I mean, we've got some different industrial loads coming through. The state of Wyoming is, as you heard from the governor just this morning, they're trying to find ways to replace that load and those industries and that tax rate base in our state. And so we're at the epicenter of that transition. And so a couple things I think that we've done, and I think our board has been, you know, I would definitely just notice them. I think they've remembered who started the co-op back in we're 78 years old. So there was a bunch of residential customers that said we needed to band together, and I think they've kept that in perspective, and they've made long membership decisions when sometimes it's kind of tough to swallow, but for the membership and the long-term view, I think that's the perspective that I've been able to understand from them. And part of the things that we've done is developed a strategy plan similar to Basin's. I think reliable, affordable, safe electricity is the key, but what does that mean to us? And I think they've been instrumental in directing and guiding the strategy of Powder River to maintain that perspective of long-term value to our members in the long run.
Excellent. Well, I think you guys have done an outstanding job, so thank you. Okay, Jason, you ready, my friend?
Yeah.
We've been harassing each other all day, so. Okay. Third in line here is Jason Brothen. Jason's been a co-op guy for many, many years. He's worked for 3 Upper Missouri member cooperatives over the past 26 years. As a matter of fact, I started at Basin 21 years ago, and I think I was on my probably 5th day when I got into a meeting, and I don't know how I met you, but you gave me a hell that day, and you have not quit since then. So, and I appreciate that. Consider you a close friend. Since 2016, Jason's been the manager of 2 cooperatives. We have Mid-Yellowstone Electric in Hysham, Montana, and Lower Yellowstone Electric in Sydney, Montana. Jason, you have a little bit of a tale of 2 co-ops going on there. Mid-Yellowstone's fairly small, agricultural based, I believe, right around 750 members. Lower Yellowstone, 6,000 members, give or take. Sits on the edge of the Bakken oil field and grabs a lot of that ancillary growth that comes with that. So today I don't necessarily want to focus on that big oil load. I think we've heard those stories over the years. But more I want to focus on some of that ancillary growth that comes about because of that oil load. We had an opportunity to spend a little time with one of your members, Vess Hurley. Interesting fella. We get a kick out of him. Can you tell me a little bit about Vess and what he does?
Yes, you're right. Vess, you should get a kick out of him. He's electric. First off, he's a great co-op member. He supports our co-op in any way he can. He's always there to help us during outages, things like that. But Vess has found a way to put himself or make a business out of many different aspects of the oil field. It could be from rental equipment to communications to whatever, And so he's an entrepreneur. And on top of that, he's also maintaining farmland as well. So he's nonstop.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we got a video of Vess. It's not a real long video because it's probably the only 4 sentences that we got that were clean enough to show in public. And Vess would be very fine with us saying that, I believe. So, but can we show the Vess Hurley video, please?
We were able to diversify our services by, you had to compete with the bigger companies that came in. When I started, there was 3 or 4 companies, and there was, if you met a winch truck on the road, you knew who it was. Then all of a sudden, the other oil areas were quiet, Alaska, Texas, and it was busy up here in the early years. And to stay competitive, you had to, these big companies moved in. You had to keep on growing, or else you're going to lose it. We deal with big publicly traded companies, so you have to do what you can to, so you don't lose. If you only have one niche, and then someone else has that niche, and they add 3 or 4 more things to it, like houses, water, septic, garbage, heavy equipment use, winch trucks. You have to keep growing, or else they would just overtook it from you.
Okay. Like I said, interesting guy. Vess has made a focus on keeping it local. I mean, he has made a career out of using local talent where possible, looking for those local opportunities and trying to cash in on them. Do you want to explain a little bit more of the success he's had and the things that he's done?
Sure. First off, if you watch that video, we all have to give the Basin communications staff big hats off to get a guy. I don't think he has stood still for 3 minutes ever. So I don't know how they did it, but that's amazing. Vess actually is a co-op guy. He started out working for a local telephone co-op, putting in communications. While he was doing that, he quickly realized that there is this need for oil field services to get connected as well with these communications he was installing. So he decided to leave the co-op and start a business doing that, and then he just expanded from there. He took it to anything from portable water to temporary or portable housing to rental equipment, like I said earlier. He even has portable bathrooms that's all spread all around. In fact, Basin's used them at their substations. So, Vess has really made a name for himself, but also he is very supportive. He's very community-minded. You'll always see his business, Hurley Oilfield Services, sponsoring activities in the communities around the area, and he'll do anything he can to help out that local piece in our community.
Excellent, wonderful. Now, when we were chatting prior to the panel, you mentioned that you have another interesting member, and I'm going to go there with you right away, is a farmer that started a butcher shop? Is that correct?
Yes, so Savage is a little town that sits about 20 miles south of Sydney, and a farmer has run a butcher shop for many years there, and he's well known. The story is basically he wanted to expand that one day, and this guy is very good as well with his community. He supports the 4-H. He is trusted by a lot of area farmers and ranchers to process their animals and stuff, and so we were updating our Savage substation, which sits across the road, and we needed an easement from him. So we went to him to get an easement, and he said, well, you know, I need to expand my business over here on the other side of the road, which we did not serve. MDU serves the town of Savage, but his shop sits right on the edge. But MDU could not serve three-phase power to him. They were way too far away, and he wanted to expand, so basically it was kind of hindering his growth.
Excellent.
And so he talked to me, talked to my operations manager, my COO, and we figured out a way. We said to him, well, you know, if you can work with MDU, we can get you some three-phase power because we're right there, you know, like 33 feet away. He said, don't worry about that. And I'll take care of MDU. And the next week we were boring in three-phase service to his butcher shop, and he expanded his service with coolers, and now I know some folks here have stopped there many times and gotten the beef jerky and the bacon and things like that, and I think he's grown his business by word of mouth that way. But again, it's that small community. It's, you know, and on top of that, we got a new pivot for him hooked up at the same time across the road. So he really had a win-win. So
Almost sounds legal.
it was very legal.
Okay, sounds good. And Jason, before I let you go on this one, I do want to, you do have two cooperatives, so I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Mid-Yellowstone a little bit. In primarily ag-based, can you give me an idea of what that looks like? Is that irrigation and drying?
Yeah, Mid-Yellowstone is definitely a lot different than Lower Yellowstone in their base of load. They sit along the Missouri or the Yellowstone River, of course, and it's a primary irrigation load. Very good ground, a lot of beets there and other crops that are growing. We don't see quite the growth at Mid-Yellowstone that we do at Lower, but in the last few years, the pivots have increased, and we're noticing where the farmers, they want more water, so they're replacing old pumps with new, bigger pumps, which of course is putting a different strain on our system, and we're adapting to it and growing in smaller chunks is all. So
Growth is still growth.
it's still growth.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, Jordan, you're up, my friend. Okay, Jordan Lamb is the CEO and General Manager of Oahe Electric in Blunt, South Dakota. Jordan grew up in the co-op world, growing up on cooperative lines, then actually working as an engineering intern for Basin Electric over at the Deer Creek station through college. He then moved on to Basin Electric member East River Electric as a transmission planner before moving back home to serve as Oahe Electric CEO. Oahe Electric is a 3,000 member cooperative in central South Dakota. It has a mix of agricultural, commercial, technological, and residential loads. Now, one of its newest members is Ringneck Ethanol facility in Oneida. Jordan, can you tell me a little bit about Ringneck?
Absolutely. Two things before I go on to that. One, when you asked me for my introduction, I believe I had something along the lines of mention how good looking I am, and I see you stripped that from
Yes. Well, your wife told me I couldn't say that. So.
And the second thing is, I'm by no means a politician like you guys saw earlier, but like and kind, I enjoy talking, and Chad gave me a mic, so I guess we'll start there.
I'm going to go ahead and just tell you, we're all a little nervous when you get up and talk in public. Everybody would be. Jordan goes, don't worry, if they all screw up, I'll go 45 minutes on my own. And I don't disagree. He probably can.
I was going to say, ever since my third grade report card, my teacher always says talks too much, so I guess I haven't learned yet. Ringneck Energy is an ethanol plant that we added in the late 2018-2019 timeframe. There's a 6 megawatt load in our area, producing around 100 million gallons of ethanol per year. Been a great member for us. Stable, steady load, high load factor, great for our community. The community that it's sited outside of is a town of around 680 people. So that's been great for just a community aspect of it. Stable jobs, they have 401ks, insurance. It's been a really great load for us.
Excellent. Now, I do know they had a small
Yes,
little disaster here not too long ago.
They did, unfortunately. The facility had an explosion that occurred here recently after I agreed to speak on this, but it's a perfect timing. But from just the 30,000 foot view, it appears that ethanol vapors that they were burning off that were too impure to utilize in the plant and ship out was sucked into their HVAC system. Fortunately, no one was hurt. They're on pace to come back online fully in early October. As of right now, we have all but one building energized at the facility.
Excellent, excellent. Good to hear that nobody was hurt.
Yep.
We do have a video of the ethanol plant. Obviously, it was recorded before the issue, but we do have one of the corn plant's producers, Todd Yackley, out of Jordan. So, not out of Jordan, but can we see the video, please?
It was in year 2015. There was some ethanol people out of Iowa that came to Sully County in Oneida here and thought this was looked like a good place to have a plant. There was a lot of corn growed in our area, and there was a need for a place to deliver corn to. A lot of our corn before was shipped out to the West Coast on the Pacific lines. Our first impression of an ethanol plant coming to Central South Dakota was really good, really positive, just because all of our corn left on rail cars and the freight was high. So as a business part of the deal, it was really important to have that here. Oahe Electric and Ringneck Energy, our local ethanol plant, I would call them two big family members involved in our community here. They work together, they rely on each other for power, for service. It's just been a huge asset for everybody involved, and I think everybody's pulling towards the same goal. What I noticed from getting our electricity from a co-op is that everybody's involved in the co-op is trying to get us the best and cheapest rates and most reliable service that we can get, and that's extremely important especially if we're putting wetter crops into the bins, knowing that we got the power. So having a co-op behind you is huge for us. Knowing that you've always got a reliable energy source there, and if something happens, if we break down, they're there immediately. They take really good care of us.
Excellent. So Jordan, what are the other benefits you've seen of since the plants come in?
Yeah, so there are a few real obvious ones that most of you as farmers have seen in similar processes. You have the distiller's grains, which allows for more cattle and things like that to be grown locally in the area instead of just typical cow-calf operations that we saw. And uptick in business in towns. There's younger families moving to the area to work at the facility. A few of the ones that are a lot harder to pinpoint that I think a lot of people miss or oversee, one being the kilowatt hour tax that we pay as cooperatives to local school districts. This facility in particular pays around $150,000 a year. As part of that, the local school was able to increase or improve their track facility from a dirt track to an actual track to host track meets at, just to name one thing of it. Another thing that's really remarkable about ethanol plants, or our ethanol plant in our service area, is that it's kind of abnormal from a standard grain handling facility that you would see in an elevator. Ringneck Energy hauls roughly 120,000 bushel of deliveries a day. So you're looking at roughly 150 semi-loads of corn coming into their facility a day, and their entire elevator turns over its entire inventory once around every 7 days. Whereas a standard elevator, you might only see turnover of the crop in the elevator 1 to 2 times a year. So the amount of volume that it has allowed our producers, our local producers in our area to haul at short notice given weather patterns, or if weather events come up similar to what we saw last November at our annual meeting here in Bismarck, they have a spot to go with that corn instead of having to build bins on their own property. And I think that's something that's really been an asset to our local areas.
Excellent. Very neat. Now, during our discussions, we talked a little bit, and you mentioned that Ringneck has caused kind of a ripple effect, really throughout your membership on how folks communicate and how they plan projects. And this has possibly led to a data storage load and things of that nature. Can you expand on that a little bit for us?
Absolutely. I hate to put salt on an open wound, but if you all remember when COVID occurred, Ringneck Energy was looking at ways to utilize its ethanol production facility, modify it, and produce hand sanitizer in a time where not only our country but across the world there was a huge hand sanitizer shortage. And in discussions with that, we ended up talking to one of the founders of Ringneck that was also an investor who lives in the United States that was looking to market their hand sanitizer for them, who also was looking at the same time to develop data storage facilities and crypto mining facilities in tax-friendly states. So through that connection with Ringneck, we were introduced to another company that is interested in doing these data storage facilities and data handling facilities. And it's an entity that we can trust. We have a working relationship with the founders of Ringneck already. We already knew that this person was somewhat entrepreneurial in spirit, and it opened another door that we didn't see or foresee at the time that it would even develop to be. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have seen calls from crypto mining facilities or data storage facilities, and if you don't know the person individually, it makes it a lot harder to feel comfortable dealing with them. So for us, it's been definitely a benefit to already know the individuals and know that we're comfortable handling them and putting them into our membership.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much. So we're going to switch gears just a little bit on you, gentlemen, and talk a little bit. We've got give or take 10 minutes left in the presentation. I want to talk a little bit about what being a member of Basin means to you. Our theme of our meeting is Cooperative Strong, and our panel is Member Strong, and I think that really, to me, I'm a member guy. I'm out in the membership every day working with folks like you. What does being a member of Basin mean to you? And Aaron, I'm going to start with you. What are the benefits you see?
Well, the benefits are, we may be one of the larger co-ops in Iowa, but we're still small. So it's kind of that group effort of not only Basin, and then the Corn Belt and NIPCO who provide that to our substations, and then we distribute it out to our members. We have that backing all the way up, up the ladder as we go up to Basin and back down to us. But the key is that our membership appreciates that, because that's who we're all here for in the end. So we all get that. We may not agree here on a few things, or we do on this, and we give and take, kind of like the government officials talked earlier. There's some give and take. You may get what you want on one thing, and you have to give up something on the other side. But the truth of the matter is, who writes the check? It comes from the membership, and we remember that all the way to the top. That support is there from not only Basin, Corn Belt, and NIPCO for us, but Iowa Lakes to our membership as well.
And we appreciate that. That is, truly the three-tier cooperative model, and I feel it provides a huge value for us. So, Brian, I'm going to go to you.
I'd echo that. I think rate stability. There's some blips here and there, but overall, if you look at the big picture, our members value rate stability, and I think that's when we all banded together to create this entity to manage the generation transmission for us. It helps us be focused on the distribution and continue to bring value to our members in that way. And so I think, trying not to become just a bill on the kitchen counter, but be something that's really meaningful and impactful to our communities. I think that's what it gives us the ability to do.
Okay. We talk rate stability. I had the pleasure and the honor to attend the new director orientation up at the plant yesterday, and one of the slides in it, every year I give this presentation, and it reminds me of, it's a historical look at our mill rate, and we look back in the mid to late 80s, and we're right where we were in the mid to late 80s, give or take within a mill or two. And I go, wow, okay, that is the power of membership to pull that back down and survive that challenge. And now we're back there, but again, 25 years later. So we've done a very good job of doing that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, just for tangible, kind of bragging a little bit on our foundation, but, and I'll also speak to your member investment group, or where we're able to partner some of our member deposits with that program to kind of keep things stable there. But our Pre-Corp Foundation just crested the 2 million mark in plowing benefit back into our communities, and that's been something that we've been striving for the last 10, 12 years. I think the last $1 million, it only took us 4 years to do that. And Basin has been stride for stride with us to do that. And I think that's been really impactful for our communities.
Excellent. Very cool. Okay, Jason, what about you? Value of membership.
Yeah, for our two co-ops, I guess, and I mean, probably everyone, just like we heard, it's that stability and that, but I think it goes back to cooperative principles. We drive that a lot, and you know, it's important for our co-ops to be part of a membership that values those cooperative principles in rate stability and working together, and it don't matter if you're a large commercial member or a small farmer residential member, the fairness and applying that to all members, because one member is one vote. And I think just knowing that we're part of a group of co-ops that have that same continuity is very important for us.
So it's always unique when we talk to our neighbors, whether it be next door or across the membership. We all are suffering the same things or going through the same things, and nobody truly is really unique. We, 90% of everything we do is similar, whether it's at Iowa Lakes or over at Mid-Yellowstone. But it's that value of the member at the end of the line that provides us such a great value. So, okay, Jordan, thoughts?
I would say the most important thing is stability in two different aspects. One being rates, as some people have mentioned earlier. I mean, we love, and so do our members, love to see bill credits just like everyone else. The second part of that stability, though, I feel like is the most important part of it, is treating this cooperative family as a marriage. I mean, we can all sit down at a dinner table with each other and realize that there are times we're going to have disputes, there's times we're going to be in agreement, and there's at all times ways to bring solutions rather than problems to the dinner table. And I think that's really important for us as a co-op family moving forward, is treating this as a marriage, that we're all in this together, and whether we have indifferences or not, at the end of the day, we can all agree that we're all still family.
Excellent. And it truly is. We always talk at Basin of the Basin Electric family, and I truly believe that. I grew up in the co-op world, as a lot of you have, and being respectful, we can argue all day long, and then we're all going to go have a beer at the end of the day, and life's going to be okay. So, okay, we've got about 5 minutes left, gentlemen. Any final thoughts?
Oh, just keep being advocates. We all need to be, whether we're at the management level, the VP level, clear down to our linemen. We always tell our linemen, you have the most touch with the membership. We may be in upper management, but our linemen are our first line of who greets those folks, who talks to them, who's out there kicking the rocks, looking them in the eye, maybe taking some heat, or getting hopefully a lot of pats on the back for what they do. So, like you say, the cooperative family, it's strong. Our membership appreciates that, and most of them are, third, fourth generation that have lived there. So that's tremendous.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'd say final thoughts. I mean, echoing these guys, but I think part of the bottom of all good screw ups is assumption, and I think communication with each other, up and down the chain, up and down across the family table, however you have it. I think keeping our communication open, that helps us be good communicators with our members, and I think that's where we win a lot of the challenges is in that aspect. So,
excellent.
So I'm going to maybe take it a little different direction. I'm going to say I think the other thing we have to do well is keep those members safe. And I'm going to give a shout out to Chad's crew over there with SRS and what they've done for us over storms and some tough situations and that. And that not only kept us safe, but it kept our members safe. And again, working together with neighbors and Basin has been great in that respect. So it's just another piece of the puzzle.
Checks in the mail, my friend. Okay, Jordan, final thoughts, my friend.
Yeah, there's that saying, the customer is always right, and in our business, it's the members always right. They're member owners. At the end of the day, this is their cooperative, and as long as we continue to put our membership first, we'll be in good shape.
To me, it's always one of the most exciting days of the year is the Basin Electric annual meeting for me, because it is truly where the cooperative business model comes to life. We come together as a family, we conduct the business of the organization, we all go out and have a good time, and it's a very nice, it's why we exist, truly.
Is the second favorite day your birthday, or?
There's a whole nother comment on that one. Just for the record, today is my anniversary.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Yeah, and I walked out the front door and my wife yelled happy anniversary as I was walking out the door. I forgot. So, yes.
I found out
She will be at the reception or the dinner this evening. Please go easy on her.
I was going to say, I don't think I have it as tough as you, but I just told them when I took my jacket off when we were miking up to get on stage, I realized I grabbed the wrong blue jacket and I have the one from my wedding on right now. So my wife will be pleased.
It is the way it goes today. So, well, we're going to need to wrap up here, guys. I could sit and chat all day long with you guys about your cooperatives and how things are going. They only gave us 45 minutes and we're right up against it. So I want to close by thanking each and every one of you. Thank you for coming up and helping us out. Thank you for the big impact you make in your communities, to your cooperative, and most importantly to Basin Electric. So you make our cooperative even stronger. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.